Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Appreciate all of y'all coming in and joining us again for another one of our virtual sales calls. This one is one of our classic Meet Your BDM. BDM. Everybody asks, what does that mean? Business Development Managers. And if you haven't been to one of the trainings yet this year or been involved in what we're trying to do, pay attention if you would, please. We're helping you develop your business. We want you to be business owners. We know you have a passion for travel, and that's great. If you have a passion for refrigerators, you still have to be a business owner to sell refrigerators. So we're going to focus this year on making sure you're getting the best return on your investment, and that you partner with the partners that are going to help you grow your business. And by partners, I mean our suppliers, our vendors. A lot of you spend a lot of energy and a lot of time looking for someone to provide for your clients' special needs for their travel, and you don't realize what our partners can already do for you and what's available out there to you. We try to provide you with the education and provide you with those partners so that you're more successful at your business, you're getting a higher return on that investment, and that you walk away feeling like you've really accomplished something that day in a shorter period of time. So with that said, with us today from Costa Cruise Line, I have Carolyn Corrigan.
Yes,
Carolyn,
hi.
thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you,
I
Dan.
appreciate you very much. She has a huge territory. She was telling Steve and I where her territory is, and I think she wins the award. Some of our reps that come in tell us how huge their territories are, and you're in Florida.
Correct.
But you cover all the way into South America? Is that what I heard you say?
Correct. Yes.
So you go Mexico. How far north do you go? We're in Florida. How far north
Well,
do you deal
we
with?
go all the way.
Your territory.
My territory. I do on this area, Mexico, the Caribbean, which includes Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, the state of Florida. I also do in South America, Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador is the northest.
So unless you live in Ecuador, you're not going to see her. No, that's not true. What I made her sign a document in blood a little while ago was that you're going to see a lot more of her, both in these trainings that we do and as well as the boot camps that we do. And you're going to learn a lot more about Costa Cruise Lines, and what benefit it is for you to offer Costa to your guests. And I think the first benefit that I really talk to them about is when in competition with another travel agency, I need them to think outside of the box. You know, somebody's going to say, I have this really good deal, and I'm just going to throw a cruise line out there, no big deal, on Holland America. We'll keep it in the family. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I've got this really good deal on a European vacation and a Mediterranean cruise on Holland America, mm-hmm. and I'm competing against Costco. Or one of these other types of companies, and I really don't know how to beat them. What I try to get them to do is, of course, you do apples to apples. Mm-hmm. That's first. And if you can't beat them, now you got to think outside the box.
Correct.
So a great outside the box would be to say, who has the most ships in the Mediterranean? Who has the most diverse itineraries in the Mediterranean?
Correct.
Who has the highest awards in the Mediterranean? Who has the most itineraries worldwide and moves the most passengers in Europe? I wonder who that could be. I think that's Costa. So with that said, you would think outside the box and go, okay, so they wanted a premium product on Holland America. Costa is a little bit more mainstream, so what would you do? You'd put them in one of the spa suites. You can get them in one of the different balconies, or what we call junior suites, but the different levels of suites that Costa offers, and give them at least the same quality as you could putting them on Holland America. You just got to know your product.
Correct.
You have 13 ships.
We got 15 ships. The last ship is the Diadema.
I hate being wrong, you know.
No,
I thought
Dan.
the Diadema was...
The Diadema
13.
is our 15th ship in the fleet.
Wow.
The Diadema does Western Med. She is in Europe 365 days of the year. One thing I would like to point, we are in the Med versus even our sister companies that just go during the peak season, during the summer months. We're in the Med 365 days of the year. For those clients of yours that do not like to do the Med during high season, having to deal with a lot of crowds, offer them the fall, offer them the spring, offer them the winter months. We are in the Med. With the Diadema, we sell from Barcelona, which is a main air hub in Europe. We sell from Rome, from Civitavecchia, and from Savona.
Okay.
And as far as suites are concerned, that is a very good point that Dan mentioned. Offer them our suite programs. We have from some Sarah suites, Grand suites, and with our suites, we include our premium beverage package, which is free of charge. That's
How about
one,
that? See, so
one
that's
benefit.
an all-inclusive type of package when you get a suite.
Okay. Also, when you get a suite, you can your passengers can go to the club restaurant, which is a private restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, and also you have butler service,
Concierge?
no concierge type of
Yeah,
butler service, free of charge.
Wow, complimentary.
Complimentary, free of
I
charge.
knew she was working for one of those C words.
Yeah, yeah. So
What a deal. That's
Yeah.
a value.
That
That's
is
a
an
value.
extra value.
So your price per person per day is it starts at a very good basic price per person per day. So if you're thinking about selling up, it's really hard to do. But if you're selling down and you're building value and you start looking at drink packages included, butler services available, and all these other benefits for
Correct.
being in the VIP type of program,
Correct.
you're going to get early embarkation, early disembarking,
Correct.
all these different things. Man, you just don't know what you're missing, and Costa does such a great job. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us how you got to Costa, what your background is. Are you just some pretty face they found on the street and
no,
pulled in
no,
and said,
I'm more than a pretty face, and trust me, this face is old. I'm Cuban. I
Okay.
was born in Cuba, raised in Miami.
Okay.
I went to FIU and
Okay.
obtained my hospitality degree in FIU, Florida International University. Back then, it was the third ranked hospitality program in the nation. And I'm sure still today is one of the top 5 in the nation. From there, I started my career in the hotel business, front desk in the hotel business. I traveled, I was relocated in hotels. You tend to relocate a few times around the country. And then I came back to Miami, and after a few years, had the opportunity of joining our sister company, Carnival Cruise Lines,
nice.
in international sales. That was back in 1993. International sales back then, my territory was the entire South America, including Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, and the Caribbean. I did that for 10 years. I used to travel, just to give you an idea, about 60% of the time. I was every other week on an airplane. But at the end, I got pregnant.
Right.
So I decided to, priorities do change, talk about family, priorities do change, and I wanted to be closer to my daughter. So I got out of the industry, and it's going to be 5 years in May that I had the opportunity of coming back.
Great.
Coming back home, like
Coming
I
back
said,
home.
because
Yep.
I've loved this industry.
Yep.
I love the people that are in it. I love to just talk about the benefits of cruising worldwide, and you meet very unique people, very nice people in this industry.
A lot of great people both on both sides of the stick as far as the suppliers. You guys all get along, and I remember for a long time, Bob Dickinson used to always say, the enemy is not the other cruise line,
No.
the enemy is the mouse.
The mouse.
The enemy is the
mouse.
So land packages were the
Correct.
enemy. And really today, with today's economy and everything else, as much as the cruise industry would like to say that the land portion is what you're up against, I think that as long as you have guests that are spending money traveling, and we still have a population that is comfortable traveling,
Correct.
that each market segment will get their share and get their turn if you make sure you educate them to what's out there and available. Statistics show that your average guest is not going to repeat the same type of travel every year. They may go 2 years in a row, but they're going to miss a year somewhere in there and try something different. They may cruise a lot, but they're going to do something different. They're not staying home and mowing the yard. They may go to an all-inclusive a lot, and if you don't pay attention, they're going on a cruise and you're wondering why they didn't go to another all-inclusive.
Correct.
So there's really not an enemy in the travel industry anymore, per se. Airlines. Don't like airlines. But so you have to pay attention to what's available out there and educate your guests. So welcome back to the business.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And with your background, both in Carnival and the international branding and how that worked, and that's a 20-minute explanation right there. A lot of the times you guys ask, why can't I sell to, people from another country or something like that. In some cases, some of the cruise lines do allow. Some cases, some of the cruise lines don't allow. And it has to do with contracts they have with corporations, kind of like a Vacation.com corporation, where they set preset pricing for them so that they are the ones that are exclusively selling to their nation, to their nationalities and to their culture, and that kind of locks them in so that we don't come in as Americans and outsell them. It gives them business, it gives them resources, it gives them the ability to employ people in their country and take care of those people that are right there in their country. So again, that's its other story. So we're glad to have you back. You're with Costa. How are things going at Costa?
We are having so far an excellent year. Basically, Europe is up for all. I can speak for our sister brands. Europe is up for our sister brands. It also helps that right now for Europe, air is very, very
reasonable.
Very extremely. I haven't seen air this reasonable for the last 8-9 years, and we have a very strong dollar compared to the euro. So it is the perfect opportunity to offer Europe as a destination. Especially, you mentioned, people may not take the same cruise or the same itinerary or similar to itineraries back to back the same years. Offer them something different. Offer them, let's say if they've never been to the Mediterranean, offer them the Greek islands from Venice and build a package, because we know, and this is a great opportunity for you folks, we know that we're not going to go to Europe just to take a 7-day cruise. We're going to go to Europe, yes, part of the package would be a 7-day cruise, but let's say I want to stay in Venice, pre or post, just to visit Venice and its surrounding areas. Combine that with a hotel, with the air, with transfer, and there you have several components that you can sell for one price to your customer with everything included.
Right. And she and I talked about this before, and there's a couple of ways to look at the right way to package this. First off, if you're flying your guest over the pond, if they're going from the East Coast to Alaska, if they're going from America to Europe, or any kind of great length like that, please, dear Lord, please don't put your guest on a flight that's going to arrive on the same day the ship's going to leave, because their luggage won't go with them. Chances are something's going to get missed someplace, and it's going to be a bad experience of running through an airport or something like that. So with those types of long destinations to get to, you always want to do at least a pre-hotel, at least. Now, with that said, if you're flying in, and a lot of you guys know this, but if you haven't heard this before, if you fly in, even if you only spend the night to make sure your luggage shows up, it's really kind of hard to enjoy that city if you're flying in. Like if you're going to Europe, you're going to probably fly in and get there early that morning, and you're tired, and your mind's clock is not on the right schedule, and your stomach's not on the right schedule. You're getting checked into the hotel, and you've got that afternoon to kind of tool around and see the town or something like that. And that's all good. That's fine and dandy, and your luggage shows up, yay. And then the next morning you get up and you get transferred over to the ship, and so much for Venice. Do at least 2 nights. A lot of times they'll offer you a better value on 3 nights, but give the guests the opportunity. Let them tell you they can or cannot. When you're qualifying them, how long can you be gone on this vacation? When they say 10 nights, that's a 7-night cruise and a 3-night pre.
Correct.
Or a 2-night pre and a 1-night post or something like that, so that they get the most experience and the best memory out of their trip. Now, I don't want anybody to think for a minute that you guys just go to the Mediterranean. You have a worldwide footprint.
We do.
You're in the Pacific,
Yes.
Hawaii and the Pacific Islands.
Correct.
You're South America and all around South America. Norway, Norwegian fjords up through
We have
Europe.
the fjords, we have the Baltics,
Mm-hmm.
we do Dubai, our season in Dubai ends in April. We have, we're here in the Caribbean, out of Fort Lauderdale and also La Romana, Dominican Republic,
Mm-hmm.
and Guadeloupe, the winter months up to March, and then we go back, do the transatlantic back to Europe. In South America, we have 2 ships right now during the winter months in South America, which is actually their summer months in South America, doing 7 days out of Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Rio, Brazil. And of course, we're in the Med 365 days of the year. We also offer cruises for Asia as well. We have 4 ships down in Asia as well. And basically, we also do 1 worldwide cruise, which right now, she's the Costa Luminosa, which is about 125 days of cruising.
And a beautiful ship.
Beautiful ship, visiting several continents worldwide.
Right. Now, if you're not real familiar with Costa, a couple things I want to point out to you really quick is as I said earlier, you know, they move more passengers through Europe and the Mediterranean than any other cruise line. Some really neat things that you need to know about them is all of their ships have original artwork on it, usually international or European artwork. So it could be a rainy day and you're walking around a museum. So they have hundreds of replicas, but then they also have hundreds of original pieces of artwork on every ship. They have multiple dining venues on board, so your guests can try different types of food while they're on board. Some of their ships are a little bit smaller, around 2,000 passengers.
Correct.
And then some of them are some of the more modern, larger ships that are 3,000 and 4,000 passengers. So depending on how you qualify your guests to what they're looking for is where you want to go and look for that ship and that right itinerary. Whether it's the Caribbean or whether it's the Mediterranean, you're going to find that Costa Cruise Line does a really good job of finding some unique ports of call that aren't your standard ports of call that with some of the other cruise lines. They could have been to the Caribbean and not been to some of the ports of call that Costa offers. You should be looking at them for your Caribbean guest that says, but I don't want to go back to Jamaica again, or I don't want to go to Cozumel again. I want to go to someplace a little different. Costa's going to offer you those kind of options as well.
Correct.
Another thing with Costa, and again, it comes to qualifying your guest. I, for one, personally, Southern boy, barely speak English right, and at the same time, I like international fare. The people. I can't speak the language. I don't care. I feel like the dope in the group, and that's okay. But I'm educating myself and learning their cultures. And at my age, I'll take as much education as I can get before I lose my mind completely. So make sure you educate your guests and let them know that it's a very international cruise. So there's going to be a lot of international guests on board, and it's a great way for them to become immersed in the cultures, some of the time, not even of where they're going, just because they become friends with and co-passengers with other people on board. So real true Italian feel on board the ship, a very authentic Italian feel that they've wanted to keep that. I know there's another Italian cruise line out there that has actually Americanized a lot of their products, and hats off to them. They're doing a really, really good job. They're a great cruise line, but Costa's stuck to their roots and said, this is what's done it for us. We're an Italian cruise line. We're going to stay an Italian cruise line. We're an international guest-oriented cruise line, and we'd like everybody to get on and everybody to love one another and have a great time and enjoy these unique ports of call.
Correct. That is the main takeaway of today's sales call. Even though we're part of Carnival Corporation, we are a true, authentic Italian brand. We have, like Dan mentioned, in Europe, we have 51% of the market share, which no other, not even our main competition in Europe, can say that. What does that translate to? 90% of our passengers are Europeans. A little less than 10% come from the U.S. The main markets of those passengers are from Italy, from Spain, from Germany, and France. We have partnered with some of the key Italian company. We started 2 years ago with the campaign Italy's Finest. Mm-hmm. And what that means to us is not only having the passenger on board experience our product, our ambience, or what we have to offer, but also partner with key Italian companies like Ili Cafe, like Barilla Pasta, like Nutella, key companies that their products are on board. So to experience, yes, you're on a 7-day cruise, for example, but experience other products of what is best represented by Italy.
Right.
So that is key. If you have passengers that, let's say, I want to go to Italy, and I want to go to Venice and hang out with the locals at a pub, or experience, a little restaurant hole on the wall that makes the best pasta. That is the type of client for Costa. However, if you have passengers that they feel more comfortable in an American product, with most passengers from the United States, that's the difference. That's when we would say Costa is not the product for that type of passenger.
Right.
But if the passenger, if your client wants a true, authentic, international immersion, Costa is that product for them.
Right.
As far as languages, one thing, in a couple of two points that I want to make. Yes, the official language on board is English.
Okay.
Even in Europe, it's English. The translations, the main translations on board is done one time in the afternoon. That means that you're not going to have a series of every announcement translated in 5 or 6 languages.
So when it's time to go to breakfast, they're going to say that in English, and they're going to only do that one time. But
Correct.
In the afternoon, they're going to give you, kind of like the afternoon news, they're going to give you an update of the itinerary, where we are, what time we're leaving, how fast the ship is going. It's
Correct.
raining outside. You could go like that and find out it's raining outside. And they're going to tell you everything you need to know. And then with that announcement, that's going to cover what you said, 5?
English, Spanish, Italian, French, and German.
Okay, 5.
Okay. And obviously, if you book a passengers from the United States, all the daily activity, newspaper, menus, everything will be in English.
Cool.
Okay. Our crew is not even bilingual. They're trilingual. Some of them speak 4 or 5 languages. Definitely the cruise director speak about 6 or 7 languages. Another point which was done recently.
Do the dancers dance in English or do they dance in Italian?
No, they do the Macarena.
Okay. Thought that was a good one.
That's a good one. Another point that is a positive change, especially for the U.S. market, all our ships, cabins are non-smoking. Okay, you can only smoke outside in a designated area. Before, Costa had the policy of you can smoke inside your cabins, you can smoke in the restaurants, you can smoke in the public lounges. That has changed completely. Only outside designated areas you can smoke. But cabins, restaurants, public lounges, you cannot smoke.
Let me ask you a question. It just brings to my mind. As a whole, Americans have gotten more and more accustomed to non-smoking areas, and even the smokers would be more acceptant of, I've got to go over there to smoke.
Correct.
Not in Europe, though. Europe, you have a lot of smokers, and their restrictions on smoking are not so much. Have you found that that's hurt your business at all?
At first, there was a bit of resistance, but again, we moved 51%
Right. Okay.
of the market share. Our itineraries are, by the way, we have won for the 17th year in a row, Best Med Itinerary by Porthole Magazine, which says a lot for being in the business, 68 years?
Right.
Carnival has been in the business 68 years, and out of that, the last 17 years, we've won Best Med Itineraries.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important when let's circle back and close up. We're talking about you partnering with somebody that has a lot of strength and a lot of buying power, has a lot of significance in that market that you're looking for, that market segment that you're selling. And so you have a company that makes such a drastic thing for, 90% of their guests are European, so a lot of Europeans are smoking, and they tell them that they can't smoke anymore or in designated areas, and they didn't lose any of those guests. The guests say, we like your product. They're still selling 51% of the total market share. That means combine Princess and Holland America and your luxury and some of the other brands that are doing med, and they're the other 49% combined. What does that tell you? Where are people going, and what are they cruising on, and why? Is it because they're the cheapest? No. Is it because they have the best value? Now you're talking. Are you looking for the best value for your guests and giving them the best options that are available? Have you looked into Costa lately? What is going to be the easiest way for you to sell Costa? You can get on Costa Click, you can do the Costa training, you can learn how to use their services. But I tell you what, I tell our new agents all the time, if it's your first time selling a product, please pick up the phone, call a reservation specialist and tell them, say, hey, this will be my first time offering Costa to one of my guests. Tell them how you qualified your guest, tell them the information that you have about your guest, tell them what the guest is looking for, and trust that reservation agent, that specialist that knows their products, to put your guest on the right ship and get you a quote for the best possible product for the best possible experience. And I promise you, I've been on Costa, beautiful ships, great food, good service, good shows. You're not going to go wrong. You're going to be very, very surprised, very, very pleased. Good group department.
Excellent. Yes.
Everything that y'all handle on the back office is top notch. And I know it's been said before, and I don't want to pigeonhole you guys in I don't want this to sound negative, you guys. I want this to be positive. What people think of Carnival as being stability. The stability of Carnival Cruise Line in the industry, and their strength and their power and their authority in the industry is thought of Costa in Europe. So just the way people think of Carnival, like them or not, they're a powerhouse in the Americas. That same powerhouse feel is how people think of Costa in Europe. If you want a powerhouse partner, you should be partnering with Costa Cruise Line. You should be partnering with Carolyn and get with her and say, I've got a group, I have a need, this is my first time doing this, I don't know what to do. Her information is going to be on the supplier page. Always best to email them. As you heard, she travels all over the place. She's crazy going all of these places. She's on an airplane, so send her an email so she can look it up when she gets back to a hotel, and she can get back to you. If it's an emergency, her cell phone number is going to be available to you as well. Call me, call Steve. We're both very familiar with Costa. We know her boss really well. He's here in the Americas, and we can get you whatever you need. We want to help you grow your business by trying something that you've not tried before, that's been there all along, and it's a hidden treasure that you need to become involved in, and that's offering Costa to your guest. Got anything else? We leave anything out?
No, I do thank you for your time. One thing, I do travel, but I answer your emails or your calls in less than 24 hours. So please feel free, especially if you're not too familiar with the product, you want to offer that product, pick up the phone, you can call me or send me a quick email, and I will answer you back, because you do have our full support. There's also another website, CostaExtra.com, which you can download for marketing purpose, flyers, videos, material that we have constantly updated every week for you on that site as well. And again, do not hesitate to call me. Thank you for your support.
Good job, you guys. Thanks for staying awake. Wait, is he awake? Anyway, it's time for y'all to get out there and sell something. And this time, I want you to offer your guest Costa Cruise Lines. See y'all later. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.